Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? My name is Rob and welcome back for another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I save over 50% of my income on a monthly basis. And I recently did a poll on the channel asking you guys what videos you guys would be interested in seeing the most. And you guys voted how I save over 50% of my income each month to be one of the top videos. So I said, you know what, why not? Let's do this video. Sorry I didn't do it sooner, guys, but I finally got this video going. So let's jump inside the video and I'll show you guys how I save over 50% of my income each month. So just really quickly before we go into the video, I just want to mention that this video is going to be really focused on average everyday people. I myself am just an average Canadian. I'm an average investor. I'm not nothing special. I don't make a ton of money. And the problem with some of these videos you see is you see people with who make like 10, 20, $30,000 a month doing these videos, and I just don't think they're realistic. So in today's video, I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to show you guys how realistic my situation is. And of course, you know, over time my income has grown and I've gotten better, and the investing has helped me out, of course, as you guys have seen. But I still think I represent kind of that everyday person. You guys are going to see that my income levels kind of represent that. So I'm going to give you guys a spreadsheet. We're going to go over all the items one by one, and then I'll give a more in-depth review and give you guys some tips and some tricks on how you guys can save some income and kind of push yourself towards budgeting and, you know, saving more money if that is your goal. So the first thing we're going to talk about, or the first kind of thing we're going to show you guys, is our monthly income. Now this is a representation of me and my girlfriend, our total income combined together, and I think this is a more accurate picture because it really does show you all the money that we have. And you know, as a couple, you're obviously going to work together. If you're single, you would just include your own income, but I think it's transparent and it makes sense to include all the income that you have in your household, or at least the income that you have access to that's going towards your goals and whatnot. So our total income that we have is, generally speaking, around $6,000 per month. That's between the two of us. So if you want to divide that in half, that's roughly, give or take, $3,000 each, I guess, what you would say. And this is before tax and whatnot. For the most part, it's kind of tricky with my stuff because I work from home, so my taxes are kind of a little bit weird. And this is also kind of before a lot of the investment income. I do include dividends and fixed income on here, but I don't include like stock appreciation because it's kind of hard to predict. So we have about $6,000 a month in monthly income, and if you want, you could kind of divide that, give or take, roughly to be about $3,000 each. And our expenses for the month is roughly just over $2,000 per month. Once again, these are just rough examples. Some months we have higher income, sometimes we have lower income, some months we have higher expenses, some months we have lower expenses. Once again, because I do work from home, my income is a little bit up and down, but I've noticed that this is kind of also common when you have two different people working and whatnot. Your income levels are going to grow, they're going to decrease. It's just part of the way things go. So that's just a rough kind of overview of things. So let's jump inside the spreadsheet and I'll give you guys a rundown of all our expenses and different things and how we're able to only spend about $2,000 per month with a $6,000 per month income. Before we go any further in the video, I just want to do a quick shout out to Inverse. Inverse is a Canadian-based and American-based research platform where you can take a peek and do all kinds of comparisons and do research on stocks. I'm a big fan of the platform. I've been using it lots to kind of research my stocks and look at all the different financials. I'm also a big fan of it because you can compare different stocks and you really get access to all this information all in one place, which I think is a huge benefit when it comes to finding information about different stocks online. The other cool thing I really like about the actual website is you can share your research, you can see others' research, and you can see all this cool stuff. So it's great for research, it's great for the social aspect, and you guys can do all kinds of cool things on here. And the best thing of all is that the actual platform is free to use. So if you guys want to support the channel, there is a link in the description of this video. Fill in your email, fill in a password, set up an account really quickly, and you guys can get started with Inverse. So here's the spreadsheet that I kind of whipped up really quickly, and you guys can see my awesome spreadsheet skills here. I know they're not very good, but hey, it gets the point across here. So our total income that we have on a monthly basis is about $6,000. Once again, this is kind of, some of it's before tax, some of it's not. We just use it as an example because it's easy to do. Once again, this doesn't include a lot of the investment income. It's just our actual income that we have coming in that's predictable, that's fixed income is, I guess, the best way to put it. And then going down here, we have all the different expenses that we pay for. And I'm going to give you guys a quick little overview of everything really quickly. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to do a more in-depth kind of analysis of some of the big ones, the big things I know a lot of you guys are going to see on here. So here's some things I'm just going to go through really quickly here and run through. So the first thing we have is rent. We pay about $920 for rent. We rent a 2-bedroom apartment. We've been here for about 7 years now. We're looking to move out to get a bigger place. We're looking to get a house eventually. It's just kind of a big step for us, so that's kind of in the works. But we pay about $920 a month in rent, and we've been here for a long time, and that's all inclusive. It's kind of an older building. It's not a bad place, honestly. It's just it's getting old, and we kind of would like to get something just a little bit better, a little bit bigger. But in terms of cost and whatnot, obviously that you guys can see that's pretty cheap. Our grocery bill is about $400 a month. That's kind of what we shoot for. Some months we do a little bit higher, some months we do a little bit lower. Once again, guys, these are kind of just rough numbers. It's hard to be really analytical and 100% perfect with these numbers because things do change on a regular basis, especially like your income and whatnot. So we're just kind of picking averages. So we spend about $400 per month in groceries. That's $200 each, give or take. And once again, that seems to be pretty on par with what we spend. Internet bill is $100 per month. We pay with Shaw. We're looking to perhaps look at some local options. We're looking perhaps to look at some deals, but internet here where we are is not very cheap. I've seen some deals for like $80 a month or so, but I don't know. A lot of them are contract based, so that's something we're going to have to look into. But internet here is just expensive. It kind of just sucks, but it is what it is. In regards to a car, we don't have a car. We don't pay car. We don't pay insurance. It's a big one for us, and that's what's really allowed us to get ahead. But once again, in the future, near future, we're going to be looking at getting one and whatnot. So obviously, our expenses will change over time, and this is completely normal. So we're kind of taking advantage of it right now while we can. The next thing is cat food. We pay about $100 for cat food. We have 2 cats. I should probably put that in there. You guys probably seen them in my videos. I talk about them sometimes. So we shoot a budget about $50 per cat. Seems to be around the $100 range. We try to buy good quality cat food because we do have an older cat, and you want to take care of them and whatnot. But $100 a month for cat food, and miscellaneous would be about $500. I put this number here because it's a little bit of a bigger number. Like $500 is a pretty big gap, but it kind of just covers everything extra. So if we got to pick up, it could be like the cat litter or something like that. It could be if you got to go to the drugstore and pick up some Tylenol. It could be if you got to pick up these odds and weird and end things. I think having a $500 miscellaneous budget just opens up the gap for, let's say you're out with your friends and you decide to get a coffee or something like that. Like little things like that. I think that miscellaneous budget or some kind. It could also be things we do for fun and whatnot. Just the odd things that we kind of go over our budget kind of covers there. So everybody can have their own goals, but I'm not as strict with my budget as I used to be. So I kind of allow that little bit of a gap there, just to kind of cover some things just in case. Netflix here is $10 a month. We pay $10 a month for Netflix for the basic plan. I know there's different plans and whatnot, but $10 a month. We only watch it on our main TV that you guys can see behind me here in the living room. So we only need the one. I don't see why we need to pay extra for extra screens and whatnot. Next up we have is UFC Fight Pass. This is I'm a big fan of the UFC and MMA. I tend to buy the Fight Pass and then watch the pay-per-views and different things after they've already played because they're super expensive. So I pay $10 a month. And with the Netflix and the UFC Fight Pass, I do sometimes there'll be like sometimes I'll cancel them for a couple months and then I'll renew them and I'll binge a little bit. So you can avoid paying that $10 a month every single month if you're not really using it, and that's something you can do as well. Going down here, we have our phone bills, public mobile. We pay $25 each for 2 phone bills, which equal about $50, give or take. Public mobile is super cheap. Prior to that, I was using like Kudo and paying like $40, $50 a month. So if you guys want to cut that back, check out Public Mobile. They're a good company. Next thing we have is entertainment, and this is something new we added to our list. This is something we will grow over time, and this is just, once again, it's just a rough $50. Again, we're not super strict with these budgets. We just kind of shoot for them kind of thing. If we go over a little bit, it's not a big deal. If we go under, it's not a big deal. But we're pretty in line with kind of being around that mark. So we have a $50 budget. This could be like going to McDonald's. It could be going for coffee. It could be watching a movie. It could be going out for dinner or something like that. I don't know. It could be anything we want to do for fun, right? And this will grow over time as our income grows. And that kind of add them all up. And I think the total ends up being $2,140, just over $2,000. So I think we got pretty much everything here that we mainly pay for. Once again, there are a few things that pop up here and there, but that's the gist of it overall. Alright guys, so now that we've finished that and I give you guys a quick little overview, I'm going to do a summary of everything that we talked about and share with you guys some big tips and some big takeaways that really benefited me. And we're going to get into a little bit of a story time here, and I'll show you guys my my situation over the years and how I've been able to save the money and get better with kind of cutting my costs and whatnot. So the first thing we're going to focus on is going to be rent. Now, a lot of people watching this video are going to be kind of a little bit surprised at how cheap our rent is, but the reason being is that we lived in the same 2-bedroom apartment for I've been here for about 8 years now almost, so it's been a long time. And obviously when I first got the place, it was about $850 per month, utilities included. Now, if you look at today's rates and today's rent rates, that could easily go for a lot more, almost even double the rent in some places, depending on where you live. And even where I am here, where I live, you could probably pay about 1,200, 1,300 for the same place we have right now. So staying in a place for a long period of time, if you can kind of manage it, can have its positive effects, and that's been like keeping a reduced market rate rent that we have. But it does get to a point where obviously at some point in time you might want to get something better, or if you have a place that's kind of just getting really old like ours is, you might want to upgrade, and that's kind of something we're going to be doing in the future. So our rent situation probably is going to change when we do decide to get a better place. We also in the works of potentially buying a house towards the end of the year. That's kind of a maybe situation, but it might be something that might happen. Regardless, our rent could change. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you can do things to alter it. One of the big things I did when I was younger is I actually would always stay with roommates. So if you pay like $1,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, or a 2-bedroom apartment, I should say, maybe you pay like 1,300, 1,400. You can literally reduce that, cut that in half if you just get a roommate or something like that. Even if you look at my situation with the place we have right now, our 2-bedroom was $900 a month. If I lived by myself, I'd be paying about $1,000 a month, which would be quite a bit. But by having my girlfriend with me, and we kind of split the cost basically, that gets basically reduced, cut in half. So you can see how just having a roommate kind of makes a big difference. And when my girlfriend first started school, we actually did have a roommate with this place for about a year or so. We had one of her friends stay with us, and we cut the bill even half. Even more, because me and her just stayed in one room, and then her friend stayed in the spare room we had, and that was cutting our rent 3 ways. So getting roommates is one of the best ways you can reduce your rent. And keep in mind, guys, this doesn't have to be a permanent solution. It could just be a temporary thing for like a little while you save up some money, and then over time, obviously, you can kind of work towards getting your own place or doing whatever it is you got to do. But that's definitely a big hack that I've used in the past to definitely reduce my rent rate. So the second thing we're going to be talking about is going to be groceries. And groceries are definitely something that I've improved upon over time. So obviously there's pretty common advice about don't go out, don't go to fast food. Like that's pretty much a big no-no. We do go out to eat once in a while. I usually like to go out for coffee. That's kind of my little thing. But when you can, be smart with, how you do it. We like to save our money, and I like to kind of have basically put some money aside so that when friends come down or something like that, I still go out, I still enjoy fast food, but there's some tips and some tricks you can do. So number one, what you want to do is go to cheaper places or order cheaper things on the menu. I'm fortunately am a big burger and fries kind of guy. So when I go to eat, I typically get a burger and fries, and I pay about $20 or so, give or take, depending on where you go. So I can keep that cheap. I usually don't order drinks or nothing because drinks are kind of expensive. I also typically try to eat healthy, and eating healthy when you're eating out is almost impossible. So I make a lot of my food from home for that, and that also manages to save a lot on our bills because we're making stuff from scratch and whatnot. So that's a big thing. Going to different places and shopping at the discount places is huge. There's a lot of places here locally, or even some of the big chains that just cost a lot more. So if you can go to the supermarkets, you can get things on sale. You don't have to go crazy and be like, oh my god, I'm going to shop all the flyers. But find a store that's really good, that has cheap prices, like a Walmart or something like that has those cheap grocery prices, and just make that your main shopping place. I find that's one of the better things you can do, and avoid going to like those convenience stores and stuff like that charge a lot more, because your savings really do add up when you shop at the big chains. Tip I'm going to give you guys here that can be very beneficial too is if you have any points programs, those can definitely add up too. So if you combine cheap groceries with some points programs, like I know the biggest one we use is the PC Optimum points that you get from the different President's Choice stores and stuff like that. I think Shoppers has them too. You can save a lot of money with that stuff if you take advantage of that. So definitely, if there's any points programs or any kind of things you can take advantage of, that's definitely something to do. But just generally speaking, the big ones are going to be, cutting out that going out to restaurants and stuff like that, making more things from home, and shopping at overall cheap stores. And you might need to alter your shopping habits a little bit. So if you go shopping for meat and certain meats aren't on sale, you buy the cheaper meats and et cetera, and stock up on them so that you can have extras. And when chicken goes on sale, you can buy chicken. So those are some little tips you guys can do as well. Third thing we're going to talk about is vehicles. I don't have a car yet. That's something I put out for many years. When my girlfriend was in school, I basically said, you know what, I'm going to take this time to reduce our expenses, save up some money, so that when she's done school, number one, neither one of us have to pay for a car, because we don't really need it, because she's get free public transportation. Not having a vehicle sucks. it sucks because, I'm at that age where I'd like to have a vehicle, and, traveling is something we want to do. And, we live in Northern Ontario where there's a lot of space. So, my family's in different cities and stuff, and it is nice to have a vehicle, but the expense is quite a bit, especially when you're kind of not making as much money. Now that she's working and I'm working a little bit more, that's increasing. So we will look potentially in the future for getting a vehicle, but reducing your car payments, so we don't have a car payment or nothing. So if you can reduce your car payment to nothing, you're not paying for that. If you can reduce your insurance as much as possible, that's going to make a big difference. We don't have any insurance. And then gas as well. Obviously, gas has gone up a lot, as I'm sure everybody's noticed. But those three things really do add up a lot. Your insurance can be pretty expensive, your car payments. So if you can cut those out, again, it could just be temporary thing for a little while you save up money. Or if you could cut it back, so maybe, let's say you have a 2 vehicle family and you really don't need the second vehicle, get rid of the vehicle. Or if you have like a really expensive vehicle and you're paying major payments on it, cut back to something that's used or something that's good quality, but maybe just you're not making ridiculous high payments. I see so many people paying like, I work at a part-time job that's like pretty entry level, where people make close to minimum wage, generally speaking, unless you're kind of higher up. But I see a lot of people paying like ridiculous amounts of money for car payments, and I just, it blows my mind when they're making less money than I am or whatever like that, or close to minimum wage, and they're paying like $500 a month for car payments. It doesn't make any sense. So, if you can do those things, that's definitely going to make a big difference. You can still have your vehicle and stuff like that, but just work towards cutting down those payments, and just getting something that's a little more affordable. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the one that I think everybody's going to kind of ignore. And some of you guys might think of this like, oh, well, I'm talking about how to save money. But one of the big aspects of this, and this is where I'm going to get into story time a little bit here, is increasing your income is one of the best things you can do. And in the beginning, I never did this. In my early 20s, I never, ever, ever looked to increase my income. And this is something I really regret, because when I first started when I was young, I made $10 an hour working at a grocery store. $10 an hour, guys. And I did that for a few years. Like, I did that for the first like 3 or 4 years, and that really set me back. Now, the good news is over time, my income did grow. I now make pretty much double what I made back then. And, the investing stuff also is really starting to kind of compound and grow on its own too, as well, as you guys have seen too. So that's making a big difference. And obviously finding a partner, makes a big deal too. But, one of the big things you can do is increase your income. And this could be something like, maybe shooting towards a job that it doesn't have to be high income, but just something that has opportunities, or, asking for moving up in positions at where the place you work, or finding new jobs. It could also be working on side hustles. Doing this YouTube channel was basically, it started for me trying to make some extra money, right? That's kind of something you could do. And also investing. If you guys follow this channel, investing is pretty much a no-brainer. Whether you invest in growth stocks, dividend stocks, high yield, combination, whatever it is you guys want to do, all those things will increase your income, and it's something you can do today that doesn't really take a lot of effort. So, increasing your income is a big part of it. So if you can increase your work income, or increase the money you get like from working, and then you can invest your income, that's probably the best way you can do it. And if you do that at a young age, or if you just do that now, regardless of your age, you're going to see some big compounding effects, and that's going to make a big difference. So increasing your income, investing your money is definitely one of the big things I did and made a big difference in my life. Alright guys, so I know this video is getting a little bit on the longer side, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I rambled a little bit there, but I just wanted to kind of give some clarity and kind of summarize things and tell you guys a little bit of stories. I know you guys like stories and whatnot. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything you kind of see that you're not sure about, leave a comment. I'll try to clarify the best I can. Take care guys. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later.